Good morning, good morning. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my camera. Got really dark all of a sudden. Okay, all right. Go ahead and give me a quick.
He's muted, Keith.
Yep, I'm doing it right now. Go ahead and give me a quick 10 count. Let's check the audio.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to get a quick little adjustment to the camera and ready to rock. Look a little dark. I'm trying to get you a little brighter. All right, there we go. All right, I'm good with that, pal. I'm going to mute myself. Tell you.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach Traylor. JJ, you're up first.
Jeff, how's it going today?
Good morning, JJ. We're good.
How's looking at UAB? How's this opponent looking so far?
They're the reason they've won all those games the last few years. I mean, they've got great talent. They play extremely hard. They're very physical, and they're well coached as well. So, it's by far the best team we've played, and it'll be a great measuring stick to see where we are right now.
You mentioned yesterday you guys are a heavy underdog. What is that? How do you convey that message to your team to try and motivate them this week?
You don't really have to on these kind of weeks. That's what you guys are great for. Sometimes y'all can be, slightly a nuisance possibly, but this is when you guys are like my best friends because y'all get all that done for me. I don't have to do much, honestly. They hear it, they read it, they know. It's the other when you're the favorite that it's you don't want them reading and listening to you guys. Right now, I want them to listen to y'all all the time.
And then this is kind of your first trip out of state. Maybe like are there any logistical challenges? Getting on the plane, flying. What are you expecting from that standpoint?
We're pretty used to all the mask wearing and the social distancing and the testing. I don't like to fly personally, so the thought of putting a mask on my face and flying, maybe I'll just put it over my eyes so I can just close them. Nobody know that I'm praying the whole time.
All right, Greg, you're up.
Yeah, Jeff, along those lines, is the travel schedule, like when you're flying there and when you're flying back, or how you're navigating the hotel and all that, different because of COVID precautions?
No, sir, I don't believe so. Just the space on the plane, just spreading everybody out might be a little different, so I have to talk to Coach Brown. My DFO does all that, and we know the 70 that are traveling, but I don't know any more details than that. He does all that for me, Greg.
And I wanted to ask you about Hunter Duplessis. He's got the NCAA's longest active field goal streak, if I have that right. How valuable is it to your team to have a reliable kicker at this point in the year?
Oh, we've known that all year. We've got a really good kicker and a really good punter. And we challenge our players all the time that you're blessed when you have two guys like that. So we owe it to them to really work hard in special teams. And we've gotten better each week at that. But, yeah, Hunter's on the leadership council. He's great in the weight room. He's great in the locker room. He's just a really good person. The George Floyd situation, he was instrumental in our leadership council, holding our locker room together. I can't say enough great things about Hunter Duplessis.
We ran down a bunch of the injury situations yesterday, but I don't think we talked about Jalen Haynes. Is he banged up at all heading into this one, or what's his status?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He had to come out of the game with just some stuff, but he'll be fine. We expect he'll be able to go Saturday. It's just that time of year, Kids didn't get any spring, and so fall camp was a grind and right into the season, and now you're in week 4. It's just what it is, Greg. Well, he'll be fine.
We also talked about the offensive line some yesterday, ran down a couple different guys, but I wanted to ask you about Josh Awaitis. What did he do to earn a role as a starter? How did he get into that position for you guys?
Josh has just done a really good job of buying in. He's a great leader. He's really into his playbook. He knows his stuff. He's worked extremely hard, and he's earned it. So we're really pleased with Josh. We had to get better as a unit up there. That's the hardest thing to get good at. Those 5 people It's the analogy of kind of like your hand. There's 5 fingers, but they've got to be one unit. And as a head coach, I've got to quit moving them around and let those guys get a little settled with each other because the communication up there is so important. So, but we're real pleased with Josh.
Does that apply to within games too? I know you in the opener you rotated them a little bit. Are you still going to be sort of rotating linemen in and out, or would you like to see it be consistent?
It just depends on the conditioning. If we feel like someone's tired or banged up, we're going to try to take a little bit of a load off of them. That first game, obviously, it was about 110 on the field, and we just knew, we would like to get 80 snaps in the game, and we just knew it'd be hard for a 300-pound fella to make it 80 snaps in the very first game. And the Alamo Dome is 72 and partly cloudy, so you can play a little longer in the dome. So it just kind of depends. Each situation is a little different, Greg.
Are you more comfortable with the pass blocking or the run blocking at this point? Are they stronger in one area than the other?
Kind of like our offense. It's been both. It's been up and it's been down. We've been really good at run blocking at times, and we've been really bad at run blocking at times. And I would say our pass protections have gotten more solid each week. We missed, a couple of twists in the SFA game, and we missed a sound fire in this game, but we missed a nice little cross stunt in this game as well. But that's not just linemen now. That's tight ends. That's running backs. That's quarterbacks. It's a team game. It's not just like it's the offensive line. That's all of us.
Hey, JJ.
Jeff, we've talked a bunch about Tariq Woolen at the cornerback position, but what about the guys on the other side? Corey Mayfield seems to be having a good season for you guys, and even Xavier Spencer coming in giving you guys some quality time. What about those other cornerbacks?
Corey had his best game of the year. He was one of our Triangle of Toughness Award winners this week. And so we're really pleased with how his development's coming on. We've got 2 young kids over there as well. You have Javion and Xavier. They're both getting a little bit more reps each week, and they're coming on. And we expect nothing but, each week for those guys to get better.
What about the rest of the defensive backfield? Last week when we talked with Coach Nix, he thought they were getting better as, the games have gone on. What's been your analysis, I guess, from the safeties, with the safeties?
They did a good job with their tempo last week. They upped the tempo on us, and we had a few times we didn't get lined up correctly, but we didn't play a deep ball one time, but missed a tackle or two. That's just going to happen. Coach Lepp, and Coach Graham do a good job back there, and those kids have gotten better each week. And we're actually pretty deep at that position. So we can rotate kids and keep kids fresh, and that's huge for us back there.
Also this week we've talked about a good amount about Jamal at the inside linebacker position, but what about Trevor? He seemed to have a good game this past week also. Are those two kind of coming together?
I agree, JJ. It was Trevor's best game. He played the hardest he has played from start to finish. I was extremely proud of Trevor. I couldn't agree with you more. He's maturing right before our eyes. And, those guys love Coach Nix, and they don't want to let him down. And they just, like I've told you, he's just gotten so much better off the field. And you've heard me say it a million times, before you're going to be a winner, you got to look like a winner and act like a winner. And we're starting to do that in smaller phases off the field, which has helped us squeak out 3 wins.
Okay, anything else for Coach Traylor? Oh, Greg? Okay.
We were just talking about the secondary. I wanted to ask you about the challenges of slowing down Austin Watkins for UAB. What jumps out about him?
That one's 6, right?
Yeah.
I just know kids by numbers. I'm terrible. I'm old school about that. He's dynamic. I mean, he can beat you deep. He's got great hands, top end speed, shifty. He's an elite football player. I like 5 as well, the slot. I think both those guys are dynamic, and we're going to have our hands full. It's exciting though, because you find out where you are when you play the best, And these guys have been
backs shadow certain receivers, or do you like to mix it up during the game? What's sort of the philosophy on that?
we'll find out Saturday. I mean, you know, it's common sense a little bit, but you got to be within the structure of the defense. So, you know, Coach Nix and I have talked about that a little bit, and we'll have some stuff this Saturday. It might be a little different than it has been.
Hey, Hector.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
You mentioned the eking out those 3 wins. As stressful as it is in the moment, and as much as fans would love, you know, the fourth quarter blowouts, when you look at these first 3 games and in terms of, you know, the team and, you know, getting through moments like that, is that a positive that it's faced 3 situations, 3 such situations, and all 3 times it's come out victorious?
There's no games in a row. We were successful in 1, unsuccessful in 2. So when you get 4-minute offense, you get 2-minute offense, hands team, we've had to cover punts under critical situations, kickoffs, and every single play. Y'all felt it. Y'all been covering the games. It's felt like it's the play. So there's no doubt it's going to help us down the road, Hector. My concern is, can our depth hold up playing that deep in the game and playing so many snaps, especially with the teams we have coming up in front of us? Just can we last and continue to practice at the effort it takes to be great? And that's where recruiting and developing your roster really comes into play. We've just got to get deeper.
Is there, Coach, is there a certain, you know, for lack of a better way of putting it, the it factor, the whatever, like, you know, the teams that seem to thrive in those types of situations, a lot of them experience laden, things along those lines. But aside from that, is there something that can be learned, aside from, you know, the importance of the depth, from the players who are out there, a knack, something that they can take away that they move forward with for other close games and kind of leads them to be able to excel in similar situations?
There's no secret sauce to this. If there was just a secret pill, you know, we'd all just take it and go win. It really gets down to, you know, that it factor you're talking about. It's a very, very short word, but there's so many words described in that it factor. Players having the awareness, the ability, the mental toughness, the physical toughness, all those culture pillars we talk about all the time, Hector. That's what makes you a winner. And I know we all want that little simple answer. It's just not quite that simple. You got to be a person of integrity. You got to have passion, mentally and physically tough, selfless, you know, perfect effort, trust the process and win the day. You got to get enough of those guys on your team. Now, when you get put in those situations and the more success you have, obviously the more confidence you're going to gain, which might make you believe in your coach more, your position coach more, practice more, the plan more. So no doubt, as much as I don't want to talk about winning and losing, success does help.
Appreciate it, Coach. I know there's no easy way to answer that. Sometimes you just need the soundbite, though.
Well, the best way is when I always had the best players, I've always won more of those games. But we do own some of that responsibility as well, Hector.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We'll get Brennon Dingle in there next.
Appreciate you guys. God bless. Birds up.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
screen, so
Oh, okay.
you can take the rest.
All right, yeah, no problem.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna adjust the camera real quick. Can I actually have you just take a couple steps to your left? I got a little wrinkle in the background that I get rid of.
Right.
Perfect.
All right.
All right.
How you doing?
If you don't mind, go ahead and then just kind of give me a quick 10 count. Just make sure your audio sounds good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Sounds good to me. Kyle, sounds good to you. I'm muting myself. It's all you.
Yeah, we'll take questions for Brennon Dingle. JJ, you're up first.
Hey, Brennan, how's it going?
How you doing?
Not too bad. Thanks for joining us. How would you say the game went for the offense this past week?
The game went real well. I mean, we had to switch it up a little bit, but I feel like it was good. We had to depend on our receivers a little bit more, but definitely good, real productive for receivers in our room. But we held the deal real well, and I feel like we just stacking on good days and just moving on next week.
Does the plan with the wide receivers change when the quarterback change happens? Like, is there any difference for you guys?
Well, Frank is a little bit more of a runner, and you just got to be aware of the backside blocks a little bit more. But nothing really changed as our mindset as an offense, really. You know, just still get open, still make plays, still block on the perimeter. But, you know, just Frank is just a little bit more of a runner. That's all.
How would you say your role? What would you say your role has been in these first few games with the offense? Looks like they're getting you involved in the pass game and the run game a little bit.
Yeah, I just like to consider myself a Swiss Army knife. Anything they need a pass, they need a run, deep ball, whatever they need me, I just get in where I fit in. That's all.
Okay, Greg.
Brennan, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? I'm good. You were just talking about the quarterback situation. Coach was telling us yesterday that you kind of have two game plans, like one for if Frank is going to play and one for if Josh is going to play. What is it like as a receiver kind of learning both of those and preparing for both of those at the same time? I mean, it's really the same thing, honestly. Like, you know, we practice with these guys since June, early July, whatever, but same thing, really. It's just Frank is just a little bit more of a runner and Josh is a little bit more of a passer. But same mindset, same mentality. Nothing really changes as much. There's not like different routes or different plays that one might prefer that the other doesn't, or that you could see. Not at all. Same offense, same scheme. It's just as receivers, when Frank's in the game, we're just a little bit more aware of that bad side block. That's all. Gotcha. And we saw Zakaria Franklin get back into the mix this week. What does he bring to your offense? He was explosive, wasn't he? He was making plays. I was telling him on the sideline, like, bro, when you get in, I'm behind you. I'm rooting for you. So I'm excited. I was excited to see him get in, having a little injury and making plays and getting in, making plays immediately. So I was happy for him, good for him. He definitely contributed, and I'm glad to see him back. Does it help open things up for the other receivers and the rest of the offense just to have another threat like that back in the mix? Definitely. Now you got to cover everything. It's just slot, tight end, outside, inside, running back. It's just got to bring A game. We play against UTSA. And you mentioned for you personally being kind of a Swiss Army knife. What do some of those like reverse running plays do for an offense? How does that help open things up, or what does that accomplish? Well, just as a defense, it's just something to keep aware. It's just something that you just got to keep in the back of your head that, you know, just don't get too close to that edge, you know. But that's all. Just a little something, just switch it up, just trying to cut it loose as an offense, just having fun out there. You have a lot of experience running those plays before, or why does that sort of suit your skill set? How did you become that guy on that option? Well, I've had a couple of reverses in my day, with playing with Coach Whipple a couple years ago. He gave me the ball a few times, and playing with Walt Bell last year, I got the ball a few times on those jet sweeps. So it's kind of became my play over the years, but I like it. It's something that, you know, I just got to get better at, obviously.
Hey, Hector, you're up.
Brandon, good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Hey, so the three wins that you guys have, all last minute. You know, talking to Coach Traylor right now about, you know, them coming down to the wire and you guys being able to squeak through. Can you speak to how much of an advantage that gives you guys in terms of going through experiences like that and finding ways to come out on top?
But we just know as an offense and as a team, really, that we just trying to muscle through the whole game. It don't matter how ugly it is. It don't matter how hard it gets. It don't matter how uncomfortable it is. Just grind through the whole game, and eventually we're going to come out on top. And that's just been the mindset since day one. So even though it may be ugly sometimes, a win is a win.
Do you find that a huge confidence builder to be able to do it from week to week to week?
Yes, because I know it builds us together as a team, that we know that every week is going to be a fight. And it's not something that we're not used to. You know, since week one, it's been a fight. So we used to those fights, and a lot of people aren't. So hopefully, continuing down the line, we just can come out on top of those battles.
This may be tough to answer because in the game, and you might be in the moment. You know what I'm saying? But like this past Friday, for example, waiting minutes against Middle Tennessee. Do you sense kind of a feeling amongst the team when it's down in the waning moments like that says to you guys, you know what? We saw this 2 weeks ago. We saw this last week or whatever. We'll be fine. Any kind of a thing like that kind of take hold when you've been through it several times?
I mean, really, we just know when those times happen that it's just time to buckle up and just suit up and just make sure that we're more efficient than them, more just doing things better than they are. And since we've been in that situation since week one, we just know how to just get a little bit more out of the defense or the offense when that time comes and present themselves, because you got to execute. So because we've dealt with that from week one, we just execute a little bit more. We're a little bit more used to it.
Appreciate it, Brennan. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Greg, back to you.
Brennan, you guys are 3-0, obviously, but you come into this week as a 20-point underdog against them. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, UAB is a great team, chippy on defense, real aggressive, great DBs, have two great receivers. So, I mean, we just got to come to play. That's all. Prove ourselves.
Are you surprised that despite the wins you guys have gotten that you aren't getting more respect, that more people
Not
aren't?
surprised at all. Not surprised at all.
Is that something coaches have talked to you guys about?
He's announced it and said that, but we know as a team and as a program that nobody's really going to give us that respect, and rightfully so. You just got to go out there and take it sometimes, but we'll be ready.
And looking at this trip overall, how is it going to be any different because of, precautions related to COVID and things like that? What do you think?
I don't feel like it's going to be any different. I feel like it's just, just got to be a little bit more cautious, just, being around people and just making sure you're not around too many people, the staff and the workers and stuff like that. Just making sure you stand in your room and with your teammates. That's pretty much it, though. Nothing too much extra.
Hey, anything else for Brennan? All right, appreciate it. Spencer should be on his way.
Thank you, Brennan.
Thank you.
right, give me 1 second to adjust my camera real quick. Just give me a quick this 10 count to make sure your audio sounds good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Sounds
6.
good to me. All right, I'll mute myself. Kyle, if it sounds good to you, it's all you.
All right, we'll take questions for Spencer Burford. JJ, you're up first.
Hey, Spencer, how's it going?
How you doing, man?
Oh, not too bad. Well, how would you say you guys played this past game offensively?
It was the epitome of a team win. Offensively, we did our job. I mean, we could have affected the game better by running the ball, of course. And right now we're working on that. But as far as execution, I think we did a pretty good job. As far as we had 0 offensive penalties, and so that played a big role in the end result of the game. So I like the way we played.
You mentioned the penalties. The week before, you guys had quite a few. What changed in eliminating those?
Just the approach at practice. As far as eliminating the DBOs, not beating ourselves, and everybody bought into it, and they took it to their heart. They took it to heart. It meant something to them, and so they chose to eliminate it. And so that's what we were focusing on as far as being disciplined. And so, as you can see, it paid off well.
They moved you to the opposite side of the line this past week. What kind of led to that change?
To be honest, it was just a coach's change. I mean, he came in, told me one day that I'm moving back to left, and I was like, okay. And so just took it and ran with it, worked the fundamentals in practice, and had a pretty good production game.
Hey, Greg, you're up.
Yeah, Spencer, for you, what is the difference being at left tackle versus right tackle?
The difference is it just feels a little bit more natural to play left, but I have the ability to play right, and left side just feels a little bit more comfortable. I mean, I don't have a problem with playing either one or either or, but it just feels natural at left.
Is that just because you've practiced or played it through your career, or why does it feel more natural?
Yeah, during the summer I took a lot of time practicing the fundamentals for the left side as far as the footwork, the calls, and stuff like that, so the terminology. And I had just been, repetitious reps, and then so it was just sticking with me. And so trying to be as fundamental as possible, kept working on it, got thrown the curveball, thrown it right, and worked with the right, and then now I'm back at left. So it's cool.
How did you feel you played in that game at right tackle against, I guess it was against Stephen F. Austin a couple weeks ago?
Stephen F. Austin, I hurt my team. A lot that game. I cost my team 14 points, I believe, with 2 penalties that I shouldn't have committed. I could have played a whole lot better at right. I didn't do as bad as I thought I did, but I didn't do as good as I thought I did as well. So there was always room for improvement. And I was looking forward to improving that right tackle. But unfortunately, I got moved to the left, and it just all played out well at the end.
Yeah, how do you feel about the offensive line overall and this new look? Are you happy with how you guys played as a group?
As a unit, I think we did pretty good as far as making our fits and our calls and stuff like that. Communication has been a big key in our success so far, and we're continue to improve on that. Guys have been taking their extra time out, watching extra film, getting notes in, practicing, taking a few extra steps after practice, getting a little extra work in after practice, and everybody's just buying in as a unit, and it speaks for itself. We're starting to produce more, and we're starting to become better as a unit.
Is it just putting that time in with reps on the field and in practice that sort of builds that chemistry and that communication with you guys, or how else can you do that?
Not only on the field, but off the field. I think that's the biggest thing, because what really matters is what you're doing off the field when nobody's watching. And so those guys taking their time out of their day to go watch film or go do some extra work on the field, that shows a big deal, and that it means something to them. And so they've been doing that, and we're just going to continue to keep doing it and keep pressing forward, try to progress.
What does the return of Kevin Davis do for your group? He's a guy who started quite a bit the last couple of years. What does he bring?
Kevin Davis, he's a guy. I mean, he's real talented. He came in, he executed. KD knows the playbook like the back of his hand, ins and outs. He's good on communication. He's a good dude. And so it just made it easier all across the board as far as position-wise and stuff like that. It's flowing real fluent, and we just love to have him back.
And then Josh Awaitis is a guy we're kind of just getting to see for the first time now that he's taken this right tackle role. What can you tell me about him as a player, or what jumps out?
Josh Otis has had a lot of improvement as far as with his weight and stuff like that, learning how to work with it. As far as his nutrition, the way he practices, he's taking it to heart more. You know, you can see that he cares a lot more about the game. He's doing all the little things right, all the tangibles. Takes extra footwork. Great guy in the room as far as film. He'll watch, ask questions. He's made a huge improvement. The sky's the limit for him right now. He's been playing pretty good production grades, and we're just gonna see what he does. But as far as right now, he's been doing great. He's been doing a good job.
Now, as you look ahead to this week's game, you guys are 3-0, but you still enter as a 20-point underdog. How do you feel about that?
Always, I got a chip on the shoulder. We've been underdog, I don't know how many times, and it hurts personally. Just because I know what this team has, I know the potential that we can be. I know the type of team that we had, I know the players that we had, the personnel, good coaches, and I mean, we're just gonna have to go out there and play, man. As far as talking wise, we're not gonna have to do a lot of that. We're just gonna have to go out there, execute, do what we've been coached to do at the end of the day, because that's all that matters. I mean, it's 11 guys on the field at a time. I mean, on our side, 22 altogether. So whoever's on the field going to war, they're just gonna have to execute at the job and let the plan speak for itself. I mean, we can't really worry about what the critics have to say or what media has to say. We're just gonna have to go out there and do what we do.
Is that something the coaches have talked to you about, like just pointing out that you're that underdog and trying to use that to get something out of you?
Oh yeah, he'll always. I mean, he makes it an emphasis because it's a creative fire inside you to know that you're an underdog. It's just you got to take it a different approach. Usually being on top, everybody's supporting you when you're on top, but coming in as an underdog, you got to have a little grit to you, and you got to play with a little chip on your shoulder.
And this is going to be your guys' first, extended road trip of the year. How do you think it's going to be different with all the precautions you have to take for COVID and everything else?
As far as the precautions and stuff, they've been great on that. We're just going to have to approach it like it is any other game week. Yeah, we're traveling. Yeah, we're going away, but we still have a task at hand, which is to win the game. So as far as the precautions is and stuff like that, guys are just going to have to handle it accordingly, act mature, which we do very well. And so the coaches have done a great job. Straight staff, health staff, everybody that's working with the team has done a great job as far as with the social distancing and the testing and stuff like that. Just the little things. It goes a long way. And so we've been I think we'll handle it very well.
Anything else for Spencer? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Spencer.
Spencer.
All right.